IUL is a bucket to hold and grow cash. In this educational episode, I'm going to address how should IUL be structured properly. Get ready, because I would dare say that over 99% of insurance agents do not know how to structure an IUL properly to perform at the best internal rate of return. So I'm Doug Andrew, and I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for nearly 5 decades. And during that period, I've actually began to have 2 sets of clients, okay? One set continues to be the general public. And so that's why on this YouTube channel, we have over 1,000 educational episodes where the general public can learn about financial strategies, how to accumulate, access, and transfer their money tax-free. One of my favorite financial instruments is a max-funded indexed universal life insurance contract, as long as it's structured correctly and funded properly, which I'm going to talk about here in just a moment. But so many of the general public, they get duped into putting money into traditional IRAs or 401ks, which used to be a good way to go. Now it's only a poor way to go. The best way is to accumulate, access, and transfer your money totally tax-free by using a laser fund, okay? LASER is an acronym that stands for Liquid Assets Safely Earning Returns. My other set of clients are financial advisors. From 2003 to 2007, I ended up training over 3,000 financial advisors, CPAs, and tax attorneys. They paid between $6,000 to $8,000 to come through a 3-day training. Now, a lot of them went back out and they didn't help their clients. They said, Doug, we don't have time to educate people like you do. We just want to sit down and get their money, slam, bam, thank you, ma'am, and so forth. And then, they would say, what the public doesn't know won't hurt them. Well, it did. The reason why many people came through that training in 2003 to 2007 is to learn why none of my clients lost a dime in their accounts due to the 9/11 terrorist attacks. And so they came to learn about indexing, indexed universal life. Well, then they didn't want to go through and take time to educate people. They thought, what the public doesn't know won't hurt them. Well, it did in 2008 for the second time in a decade. Most Americans lost 40% again. And that's when I sort of kept all of this stuff in a vault. I said, I'm just going to go back and help people and have a small nucleus of financial advisors. Well, I have unlocked that vault, and now I have 1,000 financial advisors, and that's growing every 2 weeks substantially. Advisors that are wanting to learn how to do this, and they're serious about it. And so years ago, I had a coach that said, Doug, you're so preoccupied selling the cake, so to speak, to your own clients. You need to sell your recipe to other financial advisors. You need to make your competitors your customers. And so I did that. Well, Time Warner back in 2005, when my second book, we went through 500,000 copies. They estimated there were about 50,000 financial advisors buying my books in bulk by the case on Amazon and passing them out like loose cannons. And they would sometimes just tell their client, just read the first 3 chapters. And then I'm going to do something else with your money. Don't read the rest of the book. And they buggered up a really good strategy of liquidity, safety, and earning predictable rates of return. So in order to separate the sheep from the goats, I train advisors who want to do this the right way, okay? Now, what I do is I show how to accumulate, access, and transfer money tax-free by properly structuring a max-funded indexed universal life insurance contract. So I often use the metaphor of a bucket in my books and my training. So simply put, a bucket is an IUL policy. It's a repository where you're going to accumulate and grow cash. And so what you're doing, when this was first introduced in 1980 by E.F. Hutton, they were the original brainchild, they said, what we're trying to do is get the least amount of insurance that the IRS will let us get away with, because money inside of an insurance policy is the only vehicle in the Internal Revenue Code that allows you to accumulate money tax-free under Section 72E of the Internal Revenue Code. And then Section 7702 allows you to access that money, turn on tax-free income out of that. And then ultimately, when you pass away, anything left in the insurance policy in the cash value blossoms and transfers income tax-free under Section 101A, meaning if I died right now, every million I might have would blossom to about $2 million and transfer tax-free to my heirs. And people say, how much does that cost? Well, nothing's free, but it doesn't cost me anything. It's being paid for with a minuscule portion of money that would otherwise go out the window in unnecessary tax if you followed the herd, putting money into traditional IRAs and 401ks. Getting back to the bucket metaphor, when you design an IUL policy, most agents don't know how to do this. My IUL policies have averaged 11.17% since 1997 when indexing came out. Now, before that, we just had universal life in 1980. Ever since 1980, I have averaged 9.62%. So that's tax-free. Let's round that down to 9.6. 9.6 divided into the rule of 72 means your money doubles every 7.5 years. Yeah, I've had people in 1980 that put in $500,000. And that $500,000 doubled in 7.5 years to $1 million. And then in another 7.5, it doubles to $2 million, another 7.5 to $4 million, and another 7.5 years to $8 million. At the end of 30 years, their $500,000 is now worth $8 million, and it's totally tax-free. And it's generating, $750,000 to $800,000 a year of tax-free growth or income without depleting principal. It knocks the socks off of IRAs and 401ks. But in actuality, since 1997, by using indexing when it was introduced and rebalancing, I have averaged 11.17 and netted 10. Now, when I say earn 11 and net 10, that means 1 percentage point is paying for the cost of the insurance over the life of that 30-year period, let's say, retroactive back to day one. So I've averaged 11 and I've netted 10 cash on cash, meaning that $1 million nest egg will generate $100,000 a year of tax-free income. If an advisor does not understand how to structure a bucket correctly, if you were to earn 11, you might only net 6 or 7 because they didn't know how to do it correctly. Or maybe you may not even earn 11, you may only earn 7 or 8 because they didn't structure it correctly. So it's extremely critical that you understand how to do this right. And unfortunately, a lot of advisors and insurance agents don't know how to do this. So when you design a bucket, you're trying to take the least amount of insurance that the IRS will let you get away with based upon 3 factors: your age, your gender, and your health. And so these are dictated under tax citations TEFRA and DEFRA. And they were passed in 1982 and 1984. It dictates the minimum amount of insurance. But it doesn't matter how old you are or even how unhealthy you are. You can squeeze down the death benefit so that you can earn 11 and net 10, just like a 22-year-old athletic marathon running female. A lot of agents don't know how to squeeze down the death benefit. Or if you're totally uninsurable, you can use a surrogate. You can put the insurance on this bucket, on your spouse, your kids, your grandkids. It's the owner of the insurance policy that gets all the tax-free accumulation and tax-free income. You don't have to be the insured to be the owner. You can own this on your spouse and your kids, okay? So TEFRA and DEFRA dictates the minimum death benefit so that you can tweak the internal rate of return to be within 1% of the gross rate of return over the life of the contract, retroactive back to day one. Now, TAMRA dictates how fast you can fund it. Generally speaking, if you're over age 50, you have to spread it out over about 5 years. And so let's say the bucket that you're designing is to accommodate $500,000. Now, you don't have to put in $500,000, but you don't want to make a bucket any bigger than what you will likely put into it. And so you could take 20 years to put in the $500,000, but a lot of my clients, they want to fund it as fast as TAMRA allows. TAMRA basically was passed in 1988, and there's been one change to it since then. and this came out in the year 2021, where you can actually get away with less insurance and get the money in even a little bit faster. I'm going to simplify it here. It means that if you wanted to put in $500,000 in one fell swoop, you can do that, but your money will only grow tax deferred. If you die, and you put in 500,000, you'll leave behind $1 million. But the purpose of it for most people is living benefits. So if you want to have tax-free income, you have to comply with TAMRA, because if you violate TAMRA, it's called a modified endowment contract, or a MEC. And so that means if you put in 500,000, if it's earning 10%, you start pulling out 50 grand a year, you have to pay tax on the growth, just like an IRA or 401k. No, you don't want to pay tax on that. So you have to comply with TAMRA. So the most you could put in, if the bucket was designed to hold 500,000, the most you could fund it might be 20% a year, 100,000 a year. You don't have to do it that fast, but if you did it, you could put in 100,000 the first day of the first year, 100,000 the first day of the second year. So after 4 years and 1 day into the fifth year, 4 years and 1 day, you now have your 500,000, let's say. There's nothing magic about the number 500,000. I'm just using it as an example here. You could design a bucket to accommodate 100,000, a million, 10 million. But if you comply with TAMRA, now whenever you access money out of this insurance contract, this bucket is totally income tax free. And so that's why most people do that. Now, when you're doing that, the minimum death benefit for a 60-year-old, let's say, if you wanted to put in $500,000, the minimum death benefit now is about $1 million. You could buy way more life insurance than $1 million with $500,000. That's not the objective. You want the least amount of insurance the IRS will let you get away with. That's determined under TEFRA and DEFRA. So you put in $500,000 for $1 million. Now, there's some advisors out there that say, now, level is the devil. What they mean is, if you have the level death benefit, that's not the best way to go. They don't know what they don't know. The only time you choose an increasing death benefit, meaning the cash in the policy and the growth is added on top of the death benefit, is if you're funding it with like monthly payments for 20 or 30 years. If you're putting in $500 a month, then you use the increasing death benefit until when? Until you stop funding it, then you switch to the level death benefit, and that will make the spigot on the bucket, the cost of the insurance, be smaller, faster. And that increases the net internal rate of return. If you're going to fund this bucket in 5 or 10 years, you use the level death benefit from the word go, because if you put in 500,000 and the original death benefit is $1 million, the net amount at risk when you have 500,000 in there is the remaining 500,000. The insurance company is only at risk for 500,000 because 500,000 of the $1 million death benefit is your money. And so they're only going to charge you for the net amount at risk. Well, if you're earning 9.6% and that 500,000 doubles to $1 million in 7.5 years, at that point, your cash equals the death benefit. Guess what? There is no net amount at risk. The insurance cost is Zippo. But TEFRA and DEFRA says the death benefit, if you die, has to be at least 5 percentage points ahead. If another 7.5 years goes by and the million doubles to 2 million and you die, you leave behind 2.1 million. But the insurance company's only charging you for that last 100,000. The interest you're earning on this as time goes is far greater than the cost of the insurance because the amount of insurance is going down. This is how your insurance becomes cheaper as you get older. Have you ever seen an insurance policy get cheaper as you get older? Agents who don't understand this, they think, oh, this is going to implode. The cost of insurance is going to be exorbitant when you get older. No. I am able to, 30 years into my bucket, if I earn 11, I net 10.9 because the cost of the insurance is only draining out 0.1%. But retroactive back to day one, it maybe is 1%. So the spigot on the bucket is the cost of the insurance that the IRS says has to be there. It's actually watering a nice little money tree that's going to make it blossom when you die and transfer tax-free. But when you think about earning, let's say, 11 and netting 10 after the cost of the insurance, that 1% is money that most people shell out in unnecessary tax. In fact, they would have to be earning 15 or 16% in a tax-deferred IRA or 401k in the market That's pretty scary to try to earn 15 to net 10 after tax. I only have to earn 11 to net 10, and that's not tax. That is the cost of the insurance that makes the whole thing tax-free. So it's really not a cost, it's a benefit. And by the way, people don't object to insurance benefits, they object to paying for them. I have Uncle Sam pay for my insurance by redirecting that 1% that most people shell out in unnecessary tax on their IRAs or 401ks, and I get a bunch of insurance coming along for the ride. So if this is resonating with you and you want to learn more how to do this correctly, I want to gift you a copy of this book. It talks about how to properly structure max-funded indexed universal life. And when you do it correctly and fund it properly, I deem it a laser fund. It's a liquid asset safely earning returns. So I want to gift you this book. It retails for $20 on Amazon. I'll pay for the book. I'll explain how to claim your free copy, but it's actually 2 books in one. This side is about 200 pages, 14 chapters with all the charts and graphs if you learn like left brain. If you learn more right brain by stories, you flip it over and read this one. This is about 100 pages and 12 chapters with 62 actual stories of clients who have used the Laser Fund, max-funded IUL, not just for retirement, but goals for their children's college education, working capital for business, real estate management, emergency funds, and so forth. If you want to use your whole brain, read both of these books, but here's how you claim your free copy. Simply go to laserfund.com or click on the link below. You contribute a nominal amount toward the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I'll pay for the book. I'll fire out a hard copy to you. But while you're in there, if you like to listen and learn or watch and learn, check out those options. And also, we teach educational webinars. They're free on a weekly basis, but you can also schedule an appointment with an IUL specialist so that you can get an illustration of how to structure one for you correctly so that you don't make mistakes, so that you don't earn 8 and only net 4, that you can earn 11 and net 10. That is the difference that less than 1% of insurance agents know how to do.